Alright, hello everybody. I'm back. Actually been a little longer than I wanted it to be, but I just got really wrapped up in working on the plugin. I've been working on it non-stop pretty much as I can since I started it, which it's might sound like it would be exhausting, and it can be, but I've been enjoying it. So also I got a new like audio program for my microphone, like Elgato Wavelink 3.0, the beta thing. So I set that up, but I'm still using SteelSeries Sonar as well, specifically for the AI noise cancellation. But everything else is on Elgato now, except for, but only for my microphone, like not the other audio. Anyways, hopefully it sounds better. I tried to make it sound as best as I can. I really can't do much, I don't think. But I'm using the SteelSeries alias, and I do have a Blue Yeti as well. I just put it kind of in retirement after I got this one. If you guys think that one might be better, let me know. No idea, to be honest. I'm not the best with the audio stuff, but I do want it to sound good for my streams and stuff. Anyways, let me actually get my Minecraft open before I start showing the screen here. Yep, that one, there you go. Prison Launcher's been having a bit of a tough time lately. Just trying to log into my accounts, to be honest. Every time I would go to start up an instance, or, I don't know, it would just be weird. Like, it just wouldn't work sometimes. It would be like, oh, can't fetch the profile, Mojang API, or your Xbox profile, whatever. Alright. Here we go. This one here we go. Alright, so I also got... So if you guys weren't here for the plugin last... if you guys didn't see the last showcase video, I actually got like some multiplayer kind of aspects to the private mines. You can visit other people's mines and stuff. So I'm actually probably gonna need another instance open here. Let me actually get that open. Alright, hopefully my computer won't freak out that I have two Minecrafts open and also streaming at the quality I'm streaming at. It'll be fine. Yeah, see, I just successfully opened my Minecraft on my main account, no problem whatsoever. But then all of a sudden I try to open another instance on my alt account, and it's like, oh, getting authorization to access Mojang services, and it's stuck at 0%. So like, I don't know what's going on with Prison Launcher. I don't know if it even is Prison Launcher's fault. But I mean, apparently a lot of people have been having problems in their support Discord I've seen. Just trying to log in. And I was actually trying to look for an alternative launcher because I don't know, it's been doing it a lot lately. At first it was because I wasn't updated, and then I updated and it worked fine. But now it's like every time I'm just trying to open my game, man. Like it's ridiculous. It's just stuck at getting authorization to access Mojang services. I would use the vanilla launcher, but I honestly hate them. Like, they are so bad. Why is it like this, man? I swear it's gonna error, and then it's gonna tell. Yeah, see, I just tried to refresh the status of the account, and it said errored instead of like checking or whatever. And I'm gonna have to remove it, and then I'm just gonna add an offline account and then log in through the auth mod. There you go, that one. Do the offline one. I don't care anymore. Launch. You shouldn't need to get authorization to access Mojang services if it's an offline account. What are you doing? Why? right here. The instance is already loaded too. Like I don't need to. I wish I could just open two of the same instance, but it's like it doesn't want to do that for some reason. Like just let me open two of the same instances. Oh. Okay, it can't even open an offline account. Like what are you doing, Prison Launcher? Why are you doing this? Just open the instance. See, this is the problem I've been having lately. Every time I just want to test my plugin, I need two accounts to do it, and I have two accounts, but it just doesn't want to open the second account. Oh, okay, here we go. Finally, it opened on the offline account. Now I have to log in because it's obviously, you know, it's offline. Let me just make sure that I don't, for whatever reason, it shouldn't pop up on my monitor I'm streaming on, because I made that my second monitor now. But for whatever reason, in case it does, gotta go to BRB. This one. Okay, yeah, this mod is also having problems. I don't understand what the issue is. Something went wrong. Something went wrong. Okay, well, let me just sign into it. It's a valid Microsoft and Mojang account. It's a valid Microsoft account, and it's tied to an account that is purchased from, you know, it is not an offline account, but definitely a premium account. Why are you having problems getting the account? Okay, finally. It took a few tries, but with the mod, I'm finally in. Alright. Let's start up the server now. God, I wish it didn't start in such a big window. Okay. Let's go back to my display here. Now that we got the second account open. Run the server here. I hope I'm not too loud either. I'm kind of talk at a consistent level, but my voice obviously is not a consistent volume. I'm normally a soft speaker, but as I'm streaming, I'm really trying to get out of that and just speak. But it always, you know, it's old habit. Okay, door's finally open. Now we can finally join the game. I also moved my laptop closer because if you don't know, I'm actually streaming my laptop screen rather than the big monitor that I have now, because the big monitor is honestly too big to just have one window open on. It would just be too big for me, so I just don't like that. I don't like having anything full screen on the big monitor unless it's like a video and I'm not doing anything else on the monitor. So I usually just have like it sectioned off and just have like the coding window there, like in a section. But anyways, so if you didn't see the last video, yeah, sorry, I just completely cut off what I was saying. I did not finish what I was saying. But yeah, I moved my laptop closer because every time I would stream coding on the laptop where it was, this text would be too small and it would just hurt my eyes eventually. Anyway, so I moved it a bit closer. So now it's like I can actually see. That's straining my eyes are squinting. So that's solved. Anyways, what are you here for? Coding. So if you haven't been caught up with my videos, my update videos, or if you're watching in the future and you're not aware, I actually do have a playlist for this stream for all my development on this plugin called the BambooPrison. And the showcase videos, I do put those in that playlist. They're like a maximum of like 45 minutes to an hour long. But I've been trying to keep them shorter. Anyways, so if you haven't been keeping up with the showcase videos, you might not, and you're coming in from a previous stream, you might not know how much I've actually done. It's been a whole 18 days since I last streamed this plugin, so I've done a lot in that 18 days. You know, I've added enchants to the Omni tool. I've added mine palette, and I don't think I actually streamed this schematic here But so let me try and get you all caught up. I think in the last stream we had a smaller mine. I can actually show the mine that we had. Okay, if it would let me log in. Again, even the server I'm running is having trouble getting getting authentication. Really annoying. So this is my alt account here. Mine teleport. So you might have seen this mine here in the last stream. This might be where we left off there. But yeah, so we had this mine, and obviously it was working really fast. So you might not even know what the problem was, or that there even was a problem. But the main thing is this is a really small schematic, right? So, and this one is much larger by comparison, as you can, it's pretty obvious. You can see how much larger it is. Even this mine here is larger than that entire schematic. So when I tried to load this in instead of that smaller one, it was really laggy. Like, it was lagging out and everything. So I spent a lot of time optimizing the plugin here, and I do mean a lot of time. So let's see if I can show it off right. So at first I had the why is my cursor like this? It's so weird. I don't like that. Like, it should just be like that there. Anyways, so at first we had this fake block handler here, and this stored all the fake blocks per player. Yeah, so this stored all the fake blocks per player. We had this map here of the UID key and a fake chunk container, which is a custom object I made. And we would store all of the the first thing I did was store all of the fake blocks per player. And that is actually not what you want to do at all. That's like really bad, actually. So I'm not even using this. Okay, see what I mean? Look at this. Like, every couple minutes, or when the server first starts, it's a problem with the interstitial service key info. Freaking merging auth-lib. It's a problem with the console, and I don't know why. Maybe I need to update Paper. But it's just so ridiculous, like, why it's even doing that. Anyways, the fake chunk container would store another map, and instead of UID, because we're already storing it for the player, it stores a long and a fake chunk section. So we store the blocks per chunk section per chunk. So the chunk storage, this is the chunk storage right here. This is the key of the chunk. So it's so the key of the chunk is, you take the chunk X coordinate and the chunk Z coordinate, which you can actually get from block coordinates, simply like this. So this is the block X coordinate, and this is the block Z coordinate. All you do is you bit shift it to the right by 4, and then you have the chunk coordinate, and you pack that as well. So you get those chunk coordinates, and then you use the chunk coordinates to pack it into a single long. Instead of storing 2 integers, you're storing 1 long. So you actually take the chunk X and you shift it left by 32, and then I think this is an OR mask or something like that. And then you take the chunk Z, which was bit shifted to the right, and then you AND it. You AND mask it, or you AND it by this number here. I'm not 100% sure what the number is, but it works. That's how we store it. The chunks, the chunk coordinate right there. And then for every chunk, we have a fake chunk section container, and this stores a bunch of sections for that chunk. So we have an integer key, which is just the Y coordinate of the section. Because if you don't know, chunks are stored obviously like this. This is a chunk right here. This little yellow border. It's a 16 by 16 area, as however tall the world height is. So all the way from the top of the world to the bottom of the world is the Y of of the chunk. But it also is, you know, of course, 16 by 16. And then the sections split off the chunk by 16 on the Y as well. So you got 16 by 16 by 16 area now, and that's one chunk section. That's one section of the chunk. So that's how we're storing it here. This is just the Y of the section, and we can get the Y of the section simply by taking the Y coordinate and putting shifting to the right 4. Hey Cottage, what's going on? How you doing? How do I sound? I just changed up my audio for my mic before the stream. I think it sounds different than the previous ones, so I'm hoping it's better, and I hope I'm not too loud either. But yeah, so we're storing the chunk sections here, and each section is a container of blocks for that section. And there's 4,096 blocks in a section, including air blocks, of course. So this is just storing an array. Sounds good? Cool. Nice, doing good. Yeah, nice. If you don't know Cottage, go check her out. She also live streams. She's a writer. She's pretty cool. Known her for a while now, as I was modding at her streams a little bit. Right. So yeah, the block container. Right. So we store an array of integers, for 4,096 in size, from 0 to 4,095. And that's stored in a atomic integer array. So we create the array and then we store it in here. And this is for concurrency, so you can use multi-threading on it and stuff. Or it's multi-thread safe. Right? And so what is the integer that we're storing? That's actually the block coordinate in world space, except it's translated to be relative to the chunk and then relative to the chunk section, because this is just an int array. It's not like a map of coordinates or location, because it doesn't need it, right? It's just a chunk section is just 4,096 blocks in a 16 by 16 by 16 area. So obviously you can just store it in an array, and then you would loop over the array, and that would determine which block in the section that it is. So that's what we're doing. We're taking the world coordinates of the block and we're translating it into relative coordinates of the chunk section, which just so happens to be a single int. And we can actually see how we translate it. If I can find pose key is over here. So you get the key, which is actually a short from the X, Y, and Z, and you just and mask it by 15 on the X, and then the Z is and masked by 15 and then shifted to the left 4. And then also these are OR as well. You OR it by Y and 15, shifted to the left 8. That's how you pack it into a single short value instead of 3 int world coordinates. So we were using this to store the player blocks, including the schematic. However, soon realized that we don't need to store all of the schematic blocks per player because because this will be the same for everybody that's using this schematic. So instead of storing all these blocks per player, I'm actually just storing them per schematic, and we read the blocks for that schematic instead of storing them per player. And then I was just storing this mineable area for each player, because this is different for every player, possibly. because when you first create the mine, it's not this big. It's actually like just right over there in the center, and then you can expand it to be this big. And so everything that's not expanded would be bedrock inside this little cuboid area. And then I was doing that, and I got that to be really fast. But then when it came to making enchants and clearing the mine with like the nuke enchant, it had a lot of lag spikes. And the reason why is because I was sending all of the updates, to clear the mine. I was sending all the updates in chunk section update packets. And so what that means is for this entire area right here, I was sending a single packet for every chunk section. So like this one, this one, this one, this one, here. It's just, every chunk section in this huge area. So that's a lot of packets to send to the player, especially at once. And so that causes lag spikes. So I was able to fix that by batching it. So I would send like a maximum of 10 chunk section updates packets per tick. So then it would like slowly empty out and then slowly refill. And then I talked to Dr. Div, and he said he reminded me about just using a seed. So now I'm using a seed, and we don't actually even have to store any of these blocks for the player. So right now I'm not storing any block here for any player. The only thing I'm storing per player now is a seed and the block palette that determines what goes in the mine. So you combine the seed, so you use the seed and the block palette to determine which block is in which location in this mine. And so that allows me to then say, let me take explosive off and disable auto sell. It allows me to say, hey, that's an end stone. That's a coal block. That's cobblestone. This is stone. This is diamond. This is iron. It allows me to break a block and know which one I'm actually breaking, because of course these aren't real blocks. These are not stored anywhere. Again, if I'm on my alt account here, this is what my alt sees. This is what my main sees. Even though we're in the same location. We're at the same location in the same world. So yeah. That's why we use fake blocks. So we don't have to load in as many chunks in the world, which puts more load on the server. And we don't have to use like a mine per player, because that is a lot of private mines plugins don't use packet blocks or fake blocks. They use real blocks. So that means that they have to paste out, like say you have a schematic of this size, right? That means you have to paste the schematic here for this player, and then when another player comes along and creates a private mine, you have to paste the same schematic over here, right? So that way they're not interacting with each other, and that just creates, obviously an infinite amount of more mines. It just goes on forever and ever and ever, and that leads to the world getting bigger in disk size. So your world on disk space, is increasing, and also the obviously you're loading more chunks. You're refilling a bunch of blocks every so often. You're breaking a bunch of blocks and running enchants on that and stuff. So it's just overall like this packet blocks that completely negates the file size increasing, because we're not actually pasting any blocks for the server. They're not getting stored on the world because they're not really there. The only block that's real is this one bedrock block that my current account here sees as a glowstone block. This is actually bedrock in the real world. Like if I was to say delete and then world mines, okay, maybe I accidentally deleted it, but oops, sorry. Okay, nope, I keep hitting the wrong keys, man. All right, mine create old, right? So there we go. So yeah, as you can see, I just recreated it, and so this is the starting size of the mine. Obviously expand 10, you can expand it Anyways, so that is that. Sad explanation, I guess. I don't even know if I finished explaining it necessarily, but yeah, it negates the entire world size. Yes, they are. Exactly. They are running on ghost blocks. Because these blocks are not real. And that's completely fine. That they're running on ghost blocks. If you want, you can see the console. Again, this is just the stupid Yggdrasil Mojang authentication stuff failing, right? As you can see, there's no, yes, it would, except I've canceled that out. I have a check, so like if I turn off flight, so I can't fly, standing in ghost blocks right now, it won't kick me because I listen for the player movement packet. I calculate the block that's below them, or the fake block that's below them, and then if the fake block below them is not air for that player, or you know, like, you know, basically if it's not air for that player, then it won't kick them. And the way I do that is there's actually a field on the server player, which is like the NMS player, or the craft player. There's a field that determines how long they're floating, and in order to negate it from kicking them, that you just set that field back to like 0. It's like a timer. So you just set it back to 0 when they're moving on a block. And so what that does is it also allows me to actually kick people who are flying that don't have access to flight, because they're not actually on a fake block. They're not standing on a fake block. Like right now, I'm not standing on a fake block. But I have flight enabled, so I'm not getting kicked. Yeah, I did solve that. And I can actually show you, I have the packet here. Player move packet right here. It's on player move, calculate the block. First it checks if it's a schematic block, because that needs less calculations. No, it's just simple math. Like you might think that it's heavy. This is just math. It's very simple operations like add and subtract and find the minimax. And then this is just this is also just a bit of simple calculations. I haven't stress tested it, so like with more than 2 people, I only have 2 accounts, so I've only tested with 2 players at a time. So I haven't stress tested it, and I will in the future. And if it does turn out that this is too heavy, then I'll have to simplify it and just cancel flight if they're in the mine world, which I can do. But I wanted it to work like real blocks, so I tried to simulate that as much as I could. So if they're in the mine, I could just simplify it. If they're in the mine world, then just cancel it. But what I have here is my player handler is my NMS interface for interacting with an NMS player. So I just reset the floating state as a custom method for this player. What that does is I have these fields here above ground tick count and client is floating. So these are used down here, and they're got up there, so I don't have to get it every time. We just access those fields through reflection because they're private, and then we just set them to 0, and floating is false. Right, and I can actually show you the field. It's actually from the server game packet and listener implementation, which is the player's connection. And again, that has the fields in here. You can actually change the maximum flying ticks as well. But let's see. Above ground tick count, and there's floating somewhere in here. But yeah, it's all in this class. You just use reflection to access it. Yeah, but if I cache it, then it would still be changing whenever they move. I would still have to check which block that they're moving on, and then I'd have to have another check to see if it's the same, and if it's the same, then don't recache it or whatever. I think that's ultimately just more expensive than calculating it. because again, we'd be checking the block every time anyways. But yeah, I don't know anything about the player simulators or anything. I'm probably just gonna try to outsource it to allow other people to test it. Because this will be open source soon. Whenever I make it open source, and then at least by release it will be open source, and I'll probably send it out to people before that, try and optimize. But yeah, I've been spending a lot of time just even optimizing all this stuff, like these fake blocks here. If I have nuke, it just, you know, there you go, the whole mine is just gone. Auto cell enable, there you go. So there you go, it's just the whole mine here. So you're saying you check it from get to a 1 block apart, right? So you would have to cache what block that they were on then as well. Not just UID boolean. You'd have to cache what block they were on previously, and then if they moved the block, then you gotta check if they moved the block, and then check if they're now not on a fake block, and then change the boolean, and then do the same thing again if they move again. Right? I don't think I see your vision quite yet. Like, I get what you're saying. You might. Oh yeah, okay. Get to and get from. Let me see, because I'm not just listening to the bucket event. I'm listening to the packet. And this is just an adapter that I made, so I needed the implementation. Server-bound move packet handle, right? Yeah, so that's not in. I don't think that's in. That is only. It's like pose rotation, and there's one that's sent for just rotating the camera, I think, and there's one for the actual position. Yeah, there isn't like a to and from for this packet I'm listening to. So okay, so I do see what you're saying now, because if they already provide that for you, then that means that they must have at least cached it on their end already. So I would just access that from those methods and then check if they did move, which would be a lot smaller of a check than all of this, obviously. But not in the packet. They don't store that in the packet. And I could that you do bring up a good point. I could use the event from bucket, but I mean, who knows which is more actually efficient, the packet or the event? Because packets are just, these are just sent between the player and the server, right? This is I think this is server bound actually. Yeah, this is so this is sent from the player to the server, and it checks when it receives the packet. It checks. Whereas the event lifecycle is all on the main thread. Packets are all actually on the asynchronous. And I know this because every time you try to access the bucket API in a packet, you gotta do it. You gotta put it in a scheduler to make it synchronous. Right. Yeah. I could. I'll leave it how it is for now, and if there are if there's any issues with it, I can try the event and we can test that as well after, like right after. I see what you're saying, but I think I'll leave it how it is for now. And again, I'll let other people stress test it because I think that would be the best solution. Yeah, it'll be open source at some point. But yeah. Right. So, my last update video, I added the mine visit command. So I'm in my mine right now, right? I go here, I visit my main account, and now I'm in their mine. Again, I don't know why things like that. This server's having a hard time authenticating with Mojang apparently, so that's fine. Yeah, so now we're both in the mine, right? And we can like see each other mining and stuff. So can't really do this in a good way here. Let's do that. There we go. This is my main account here, and boom. Yep, right, this the other client sees that as well. And we're using the same seed and block palette because he's actually using mine now, right? He's actually using mine now. And of course, it's like this. You can see mining. Although again, there's no like block break particle for the other player. Just because I didn't really implement anything like that. And they can't hear you mining the block. It just updates for them and basically tells them that, hey, that block's air now. Basically all it's doing. But it essentially is what we want. It's exactly what you would see, except obviously the particles and the sound. But I don't think that's necessary. But that's just my opinion. Some people might want it like that, but I don't think people will really care. And obviously, yeah, like explosive. There you go. What it is. So yeah, you can see and everything. And the only reason I'm pointing this out is because it was actually pretty complicated to get this set up, but that's only because of the way I implemented it, I'm pretty sure. But I did simplify it, and it is much better now. But it did take me a while yesterday to work. But yeah, this is the last thing I did in my last update video, or that I showed off in my last update video. It's just, you know, multiple people can mine together in the same private mine. I need to set up invitations because right now it's just you can only visit if it's a public mine, which I also need to make a GUI for public mines and stuff, and we need mine taxes and all that stuff. Let's do that. Okay. Again, the Omni tool actually switches to fit the right block. Except in my mine, I don't have any double blocks or wood, so. Alright. Let's see. What do we want to do first? Nope, hold on. I'm actually getting a phone call. I'll be right back. Okay. All right. Go. Okay. So what do we want to work on first? I think probably work on. Right. What to work on first? Either the maybe the tax, maybe the mine tax. Okay. That means we need probably a new database field for it. In our mine table. So we have all this stuff that I worked on. I try to make it simple, but databases, especially when you trying to support multiple databases and multiple modules of different stuff, it can get messy. Here's our data keys here. No, all right. I think it's mine data keys. All right. There we go. Okay, privacy, expansion. All right. So we want probably just an int. Yeah. Because it'll be in percentages. So x column what tax. All right. And we need to add that here. And then the actual tax itself. The key for just the tax. Essentially what I have here is this bunch of static stuff for references. We have the column for the database, and we pass that into the mine entry so we can pass in like all the information when we're inserting it for the first time. And we have a bunch of keys here to actually get that specific column, basically. And then we need to go to our tables. SQL tables here. And we need our mines table. Down here, we need to add a tax column. This could be like integer. No default 0. Alright. So that sets up our database, which we will have to reset because I don't have like a migration schema thing going on yet. But that's fine, because we're still testing. We're not in production. Alright, so we have that. Now we need to get our tool, actually cache it on join and stuff, so player mine player data. Right, tax. Mine tax. There we go. And then on load, we could say database get mine data keys tax. And we say where, which is just saying where the player ID for that column equals this player ID. And then tax equals tax null, put 0, otherwise tax. There we go. That's set up. Then we have to set it down here. This deletes it if the mine type is deleted. And then this will set there we go. And then the insert here, we actually also want to insert tax there. Mine tax. All right, there we go. This is all set up. This is just getting and reading and writing to the database pretty much. Okay, that's done. That'll load now. Now we just need like a command. I'm gonna make a new Find tags. Command. Alright. This is just set the tags. Mine text command. We're not creating an actual like new command. We're creating a new subcommand here. All these are subcommands except for all these are are subcommands of my command. Just split them into separate classes. Static literal argument builder. Command source stack from paper. Let me say text. All right. Then return commands from paper dot literal text executes the context here. And we'll say if context get source sender instance of player. And we needed to say select amount. Select a percentage amount. There we go. One there. All right. And then for the player, we're essentially going to want the same message. So we got to do, we got to update our messages. Here we go. How to mine stuff down here. X. Should we do errors or no? Okay, select percentage. Yeah, I'm gonna put it in the common. Percent amount. So it's between 0 and 100. Right. And then we can say invalid percentage. Invalid percentage. Must be between 0 and 100. There we go. Now we go to our common lang, which is in our common module. We can add that to here. Select percentage. What do we call it? Select percentage, yep. Errors, select percentage, and then obviously invalid percentage. Invalid percentage. There we go. Now those are hooked up. Now I can call it. Alright, so message handler, send message player, common lang, common lang dot select percentage and return one. Okay, now static argument, the required argument builder, and source stack integer. And we could say amount here. And of course make sure to hook this up. So then amount commands argument amount or I'll say percentage. And we'll say integer argument type dot integer, and we want 0 min 100 max. And this will actually eliminate the need to even send the invalid percentage message. But I don't know, might as well have it just in case. I'll probably clean up all the messages when I'm done with all the commands and stuff, but we're pretty far away from that. So this basically handles the minimum and maximum for us. We say if context get source center instance of player. We're gonna now say please select a player. And then here I'll say int percent and it equals integer argument type get integer, and we're going to say we're going to pass the context in and pass in the name of the argument percentage. There we go. Make that final. Now we can say prison player. I actually made the data class for the player as well. Prison player of player. Now we can say prison player get data mine player data dot key. So now we have the mine player data. So now data set. We actually need to make a set and get method for the tags. Sorry about that. Public get tags. Tags. Mine tags. We should call it mine tags. Huh? You can obviously get a setter for that as well. Set. Alright, mine tags equals percentage. There we go. We have a setter and a getter. Now we can set mine tags to the percentage. And again, this should already be between 0 and 100. If it's not, then the command will just automatically error out in the chat, and you'll see what I mean. This is the Brigadier library pretty much at work. So now we set it, and now we can go here. We can create a new message for set tags. We set your mine tags to percent. There we go. Now we can go and hook that up in our mine locale, our mine lang. Oh, it's called mine locale. Here. Set tags. Mine set tags. There we go. Say my message handler player. And we can say mine locale dot set tags. And because I was proactive in making this method, I have obviously I can import replacements. Percentage. And we want string value of percentage. There we go. So what this does is it will send the set tags message that's configured for the language of the player, and then it will replace percentage with the actual percent by passing here. As you can see, this is replacements. I'm replacing this one with this. That's pretty much how it works. All right, and then now I want another method here for the other player, right? Command source stack player argument, player selector argument resolver. Player commands argument player, and then we use papers argument types dot player executes context. All right, turn one, and we go here and we say then player. We want to make this require permission, so anyone can't just set someone else's facts, right? Brigadier utils permission, and we just say BambooPrison mine tags other. We can actually probably set this here. Or we can make it require permission as well, just to set their own tags. Like maybe you don't want your players to set their mine tags or something, I don't know. There, now it requires the mine tags permission, and this one down here requires the mine tags other. So what happens is if they don't have the mine tags permission, then this tags command or tags subcommand just won't even show up for them. And then when they do get the permission, it will show up for them. And then same thing down here, they can type, if they have the mine tags permission, they could type tags and then the amount, because this one doesn't require a different permission. But then if they try to input a player, it'll require this permission, and it won't show, this argument won't show up if they don't have the permission, which is why Brigadier is so nice. It just handles like permission checks and stuff for you. Sorry if I sounded weird for a bit there. I was like lounging underneath my mic. But anyways, so yeah, permission stuff, pretty standard, right? So we could say player target equals my utils class, get target player context player. There we go. That'll get the player selector argument resolver for me and get the player from that. And this shouldn't be null because it doesn't allow me to select offline players. Right, if target null, yeah, it's gonna say it's never null. Okay, so if so, we can actually get the player as well here. I like to do this. I just say player equals get source, get sender instance of player P. If it is, then set player to P. Otherwise, set player to null. And I have a boolean is player equals player not equals null. And I like to do that just so it's easier to handle the command. So now, say we need to get the prison player here and the data and the percentage, of course. There we go. Again, we actually need this up there. Then we want it of the target, and we could set that for them. So if this is, if the player selected themselves, it'll just set it for themselves, and that's why we have, or that's why we can do a boolean is self is equal to is player and player get unique ID compared to target get unique ID, and make sure that's equal to 0. I don't know why I like to compare the UIDs instead of just the player object, but I think I don't know. Anyways, we say if it's self, we could just say message handler send message to the player because it's themselves. Mine account set tax. And obviously we want to replace the percentage variable in there. Percentage value of percentage. Right. Actually, we could just say, now we're gonna leave it like that. And we can say if, actually what I want to do is actually move all this to its own method. That other context, the command context, command source stack context, and then final boolean if we're gonna set it silently. There we go. Now we could say this here. Right, and this needs to throw that command syntax exception. Okay. So if it's self, right? If it's silent, then we can return here. Actually, we can say else, right? And we can go here and we could say set other is player, of course, needs to be player. Player set tax other. Then we can replace player with or get name. Here we go. So I actually need to make this message now. Set tax other lines. Set tax other. There we go. And of course in here we can just go like that. Set tax other. You set players mind tax to percentage. There we go. All right. So there is that. So if it's the player, but it's not themselves, it will send that they updated someone else's. But if it is themselves, then it will send this. And then if silent, let me see if is self. Then we want to say set tags except for the target. We could actually probably just go up here and say if it's self or or not silent, and that way we could just say target here, and it'll send it to them. And then else if is player but not. So actually I should just do it. Okay. All right. So then if it's silent, then we could just say or is player. Here we go. Log instance set get name there find tags to percentage %. Here we go. So that should be it. Then up here, we're simply going to say the other context, and we're going to say it's not silent. And then we can go ahead and just copy this, paste it. So if we want it to be a literal argument builder, I'm going to say silent. And I'm just going to say -s literal. That requires anything, and then we're going to say true there. And then up here we want to say then silent. There we go. So this mind text command should be done. Yeah, and then we go to the main mind command, and then we add that text command. So mind text command dot text. Here we go. And then I can go up here just for my own comment. The players at mind text percentage. Okay. So now to actually hook this up, we need to go to our auto cell, our cell managers, and we need to give a portion of it to the owner of the mine that they're in. And I should go, of course, to our auto sale module, because this is where we sell everything. Auto sale manager, so we have toggle let's actually go here. Gosh, this format is a lot for one line. Anyways, name. Let's not worry about that right now. Let's just worry about getting the actual text in here. Player. All right. So let's say this is the cell method. We're gonna say we have the mine handler in here. No, we do not. So we're gonna need to get the mine handler. How much this? Take mine handler. That from our NMS factor and return that, and of course, there we go. Okay, let's actually minimize this. There we go. So we want to get player owner, I guess. Mine handler, get mine group of the player, alright? And then final vision player owner player vision player owner. And we could say, we can actually say well, we'll do that in a second. Mine player data. You know what? The auto cell rely, not rely on the mine module, but does the mine module rely on the auto cell module? I think it does. No, it doesn't. So good. We can rely auto cell on mines. There we go. To reload Gradle. Okay. Mine player data. Waiting for it to reload here. Hello. Taking a while. There we go. Data goes owner player get data, mine player data key. There we go. So now we can say int tax, right? So if owner dot get unique ID compared to player get unique ID. If it equals 0, then tax equals 0. Okay. Else we say tax equals mine data get mine tax. We can actually simplify this a bit. And by simplify, I mean equals this. If it equals 0, then it's 0. Otherwise, it is this. Not the same. Let's do that. Otherwise, set it to 0. And then we can get rid of that. We can make that final. Okay. So essentially what we're doing is we're checking if they own, if they're in a group, if they're visiting someone else's mine. And then we're getting the prison player of that. And then, you know, getting the mine data of that prison player. So then we're getting the tax. If the owner is the player, then they're not going to have a tax on themselves. Otherwise, they will, because they're visiting someone else's mine. So now we got to figure out how do we apply the tax to the currencies. And I would do a tax per currency, but that's a lot more data to store than just one in the database, and that would complicate everything. I think we're just gonna do this. Yeah, I think that would be better. I do like the idea of having a tax per currency, but again, I think that would require like a whole different database table just for that, because we would need a table of player ID, currency ID, and then tax amount, pretty much. And okay, I mean we really could do it. Let's just get the one tax method, I guess, for now. We'll see. We could do it, it's just gonna take a lot longer to implement. I'll probably do that off stream, to be honest. And now we need to get the tax amount, right? So all right. All right, let's see. So okay, so let's see. This is the price for that currency, or rather, yeah. So we're getting the prices. We're looping through. This is the currency ID string, and then the double amount of that. So this is the amount of that currency to give. If I don't that by accident. Okay, and then we want the tax equal to tax taken, right? Equals to the amount to give times the tax divided by 100. I believe, right? If this is a percentage, like 75% divided by 100 equals like 0.75. Right, okay. So that's the tax taken. We want to say amount to give minus the tax taken. Right, and then we want to give the tax taken to the tax owner. So you have the data from player. We want to actually get the currency data for the owner as well. Owner data equals player player, but owner player get data. I want the same key because it's using the same currency. We have a data key per player data key per currency. To get that, we can actually just say if tax greater than 0 here, and then we could just put this up here, and then this, and then that, right? That way we don't even have to calculate anything or get the owner's player data for that currency if there's any minus tax. So then we can say owner data add the tax taken amount and then give it to the player. Give it to them and then obviously give the amount to give to the player who mined. That should do it. And then sell routes to that method that we just changed, and then sell all actually just calls sell for that as well. So that should take out the tax per material that they sold. So what it does is it takes the material they sold and the amount of that material, and then it just calculates a simple thing rather than looping through each material or whatever. Just simple calculations. All right. There should be the tax implemented. Of course, I need to reset my database after I build and stuff. Yeah, and this returns a result, and the result is an object to double map of currency. So it's the amount currency they got, but I kind of want to return the amount of currency taken away by tax. So I think I want to say, instead of just a currency map, we can say currency and then like balances or something. We can make a simple record here. Record currency balance. The int or actually long amount made and then long amount text. Actually, they should be doubles, I think. There we go. And then we can simply say object to object map here. And I want currency balance. There we go. Now when we go to put, we need to create a new balance for it. Final currency balance. So I mean, we don't have any setters for it because it's a record. We're gonna have to do double amount equals 0 there. Or rather, we could just say tax taken. And we can just set it here. An amount to give minus tax taken. Add the tax taken, and then we can say new currency balance. Amount to give tax taken. There we go. So now put result balance. There we go. And then now we can just return that. We might actually have to make this record outside of the auto cell manager. We're gonna have to use it in another class in a second here. Right, because it's private, so we could set it to public and solve that, but I think what would be the best thing to do here is just, well, I'm just gonna put it here. Actually, what's in cell summary? This is a class with a record of that, and it manages the task of selling it. So I think what we really want is just a new task. Currency balance result. Double amount given, double amount next. There we go. And of course, here we say balance result. There we go. There we go. Now obviously you need to do an object to object map of that. There you go. You also need to be an object to object map. You merge all needs to passing object to object map currency, and you then out it wants to return object to object map. All right, here we go. In for each currency result out merge currency result, which I don't think will work as we think it will. I want new you know what we're gonna do? We're just gonna simply make this not a record, because we want it to be mutable in order to do what we're trying to do. Double amount given, or double amount tax, right? And then public currency balance result, and then we want right, and then amount given equals amount given, amount tax equals amount tax. All right, good. It looks like this. Oh, that's why. Mount text. I don't like Lombok. I've never used it. Also, I just don't want to use it. Get amount given. I'm just gonna say actually amount given. I also heard that they made it a little less simple than it used to be, where you could just say like at getter, at setter. I heard you actually have to do more than just that now. I don't know. Merge. Double given. Double x. Now we can say amount given plus equals given. Amount tax plus equals tax. There we go. We can go here and we can say yeah, I'm just not really. Oh. That's fun. Yeah, but so is just typing them out, to be honest. I just like to type out what I'm doing. And also records exist if I really wanted like immutable getters. You know. Let's see. I want the currency balance result merge like that. No, that doesn't work. Right, because it's not static. I think I could just do result merge. No, doesn't like that either. You're right. It's just not gonna do that. So I'm just gonna say result. What am I trying to achieve here? Alright, I'm trying to merge one into the second. So out get currency merge result given result tax. There you go. That'll do it. We can say if absent might also work. New. Yeah, there you go. It'll put a new if out doesn't have currency, then it'll put a new. Is this how I want it? Should just be a map. Should be a new. It should actually just be a new currency balance result. No. Then I can simply put currency balance result, and then another is 0. No, okay. It does want a. That's weird. I thought it would just be like, if this doesn't exist, then put this in there. I don't know what it's. Am I being confused right now? I must be. If absent. Huh. That's confusing me. I get this one with the result, and the result is double open hash map, which we don't want that anyway. We want object to object map, currency balance results. Yeah. Okay. The music is. Maybe my whole sound just cut out because it's still playing, but I can't hear it. Oh, there we go. I had to pause it and play it. Okay. Good. I think my computer is just struggling because of the 2 Minecrafts open right now, as well as IntelliJ and streaming, of course. Merge all. This could be me for some reason. Now, use key currency output currency new balance, right? Like that makes sense to me. Why are we computing a new hash map if it's not in there? You know, could issue yeah, no, like that. Get currency, and then just merge it. There you go. That's more simple. This is more understandable to me. I don't know why the computer absent was saying if currency is absent from the map, then put a new map in there. Like that's how I read it as. It was confusing me a lot. But okay, they should be done being set up. So now we have the amount that they're getting as well. Okay, so now we actually need to add to summary, but we need to change what we're adding to it. Because obviously this is no longer a object or double to object map or object to double map. That showed for each currency side too. Player cell summary. See, this is what I mean. If summaries the map is absent of player, then put a new cell summary. Right? Why would it put a new map in the other one? No idea. Right. Player cell summary. We need a new object to object map. There you go. Right. So we need to construct the summary master to it, the amounts here. Okay, and then we can say currencies for each results. So the results amount given, right? So this is simply replacing for the player these values here. So then we can say we're replacing the currency. Oh, right, it's a different, it's an actual method, that's why, okay. And we want to pass in the result amount text as well. And we can just pass it in like that. The replacements, we want amount text. There we go. And then we can simply take this stuff here. And we can say amount text, or we can just say text, suffix text raw. I'm gonna rename this to text. There we go, and this should move this there. There we go, and then move there. Okay, we should do it. And then up here we need to right, so we have the sold map. We need to merge now. We need to we're probably just gonna look through it again. so we could say if player summary currencies contains key currency. There. Alright, now player summary get currency dot merge this results. No, might as well make a method for that in here. Currency balance results. Results amount given, result amount. Next, there you go. Now you are correct, and you could also be simplified. Just result. Okay. So that's done. This is done. You have a problem now. Okay. Here we go. All right. Cool. Remove that old one. And how should we format the summary? Maybe. I think we just say tax. Or we could just say tax. Tax. And we would probably want currency color, currency, or rather, currency prefix here. Gray. Yeah, and this looks so ugly on IntelliJ because it doesn't wrap. Let's just say. I don't even know if this will work, but let's leave it. And we can maybe view editor tabs. No. I don't know. This should look better in like Notepad++, but maybe I don't know. Many message makes everything look so much messier. I was thinking, why don't we actually just? I might want to change how I do this because how it works currently is if it's a list, then it'll append each list entry as a new string. I might just want to make it append to the same string and then use the mini messages built in new line as that instead. So I think I want to change that up. Mr. Chandler. Get the message here. The list string of them. Okay, let me send the message. Message here. Here we go. CM message. We're parsing it. And then it sees already pending new line. I might just want to say string and join an empty character. And then the new line will automatically handle that if I put a new line in the message somewhere. there we go. That should fix that, I believe. We should go back here and actually do that. And we can say this here. But we do need to add a space to them like that. So now it should all be in one line. Because I didn't put new line anywhere. Okay, and then you want a new line as well. Do we have mini message support? Like NL? Oh yeah, here's my solo. Mini message format. Okay, I guess this is... Okay, here we go. They moved it to the paper docs apparently. They support... I know, where's their new line go? There you go. New line... Oh, they have BR. Okay, so we can use BR. Let's do that. There you go, perfect. Okay, good. These are all single lined. This is also a single line, so we don't need to split it. The balance, that could be one line. Just keep it like this. And that's good. It's much cleaner, I believe, in my opinion. Okay. 2. I'm gonna put 2 up here actually. Alright, so set other, obviously you need 1 as well. So many long messages just for currency stuff. Because I made the variables pretty long. Anyone can, you can organize it any way they want, really. They just modify it a bit. Yeah, see, this is really long here. There we go. Why is there even green here? The end of the line. Yeah, I think this should just be fine how it is right now. Okay, backpacks, right? Any other lists? I don't think we have any other lists. Oh, okay. Or 2 long messages. Alright, we're gonna build this and we're gonna have to test this out. Okay. Copy all this and paste it into my config. Well, let me actually go ahead and place the plugin, locale. I actually just delete the config, the locale config. Alright. Go ahead and run. I should regenerate the config with the new messages in it. These are still problems again. Alright. Here we go. So let's say help. Yep, so there you go. That's still a new line, which is good. We have explosive. There we go. Let's just do that. Text, suffix. Okay, so I must have did that variable wrong. So summary. Oh yeah, I did suffixed. Alright, we can fix that. There we go. Oh no, yeah, suffixed is right. I was gonna get these with the currency suffix variant. No, it is suffixed. It was what it should be. So I need to change the message. Important to change it in the defaults, of course. There we go. Let's build. Now we don't have to actually replace the jar. We could just update our messages here. And here we go. Alright. Nope. This one. Okay. And it's technically you would also want to do the suffix of the currency. Right, currency, color, suffix. In case I have a suffix. And again, we can just say this here. This should work. You can replace this in the jar as well. Okay, so we did miss a single quote there. Alright. And reload. Alright. Now, boom. Alright. Would hopefully show 0 for text. Yep. Text is 0. Because we're in our own mind, right? I might have more spaces. Yeah. More spaces than necessary. Alright. Cool, so that's the text, and my text, actually I didn't delete the database, so I need to redo that. Yeah, okay. Let me go ahead and delete the database real quick to regenerate it. Shouldn't be a problem. Just means I need to reset my... It means I need to reset my mine, or create my mine again. But again, it's not a problem because the palette is configurable, and so that's stored in the config. And all I need to do is expand it, which is not a problem either, since I added the option to set how many times you want to expand in the command, rather than having to expand individually each time. You also need to tie that to a currency requirement, otherwise it'll just expand it to the max. Or even a rank requirement, but I don't have ranks in there yet, so... Yes, there we go. And obviously mine expand 100. There you go. Alright. Mine tax, let's just set it to 50%. Tax to 50%. And obviously, oh yeah, I need to enable auto sell. Because, yeah, okay. And then now we can go here. Oh, okay. Dude, I mean, the server's just... Oh, cool. Okay, mine visit. Right, it's private. Right, because I reset the database. Privacy, public. There we go. And then here is it. Alright. So it should be a 50% tax. So everything I make should be halved. Tax 2.51k. Yep. So there we go. And then you, tokens. This token set 0, right? So we can actually see. And do that. So this guy should have been taxed. Taxed 3 million. Yeah, okay. Tokens. Wow, look at that. There we go. Taxes are set up now. I'm gonna go ahead and set like the reasonable amount, like 10%. And that should change how much he's taxed. I had 3 million. Let's set tokens back to 0. Okay, there we go. I don't know why it just reset right there. That was not below the threshold. Tax 900k out of, I mean, I got 8 million. There we go. Dude, that's alright. That's pretty awesome. Alright, cool. And obviously I'm not taxed nothing. I get the whole amount. Alright, cool. Obviously this tax is going to be there for everybody. Even the owner of the mine. So what we could do, oh yeah, I gotta state that, that doesn't look too good. Oh, you know why? It's because, the header no longer is, you know, it's a line break right there. Or actually, yeah, this is the part of the currency. There we go. I should do it. And teleport. Alright. Yeah, there we go. But now we also want a new line here and a new line before this as well. So got that. And then we just copy this. Paste there. No, okay. I don't know why that didn't copy. Hello? There you go. You like to keep you in quotes. Even though you don't need it. Alright. Reload. Hopefully that should give it and teleports. Alright. And oh, there we go. So give me, okay, 13 mil. And there we go. The sell summary looks as I did before. Oh, you know what else didn't do? Oh yeah, since I reset it, it no longer has the sound that I had. Unfortunate. I did a sound, and I forgot what the sound was that I did. Although it is in previous streams or showcases, I can go look at that. Let me go check. What is it? The playlist is always in the wrong order, and I don't. Well, actually, no, it's fine. Actually, it's fine. Why am I viewing the playlist in British English? That's stupid. All right. So did I show off the messages? Not in the last one, no. Or yeah, I showed it off at the end. Summary sound. Okay, so we have the sound Minecraft colon block.note block.ling. volume 2.3, and pitch 0.5. There we go. For now, I'm gonna actually add this to the default config. Nope. There we go. Right, it was playing. Yeah. Okay, that should do it. Yep, there we go. Sound is back. Okay, that should do it. That's our text setup. What we could do is we could set like a format and format text. I might do that. So format text, and then you remove these two lines. That's the text stuff, and then it's just currency suffix. We could do this. I think this is what we want to do here. Just so we don't always show the tags, because it doesn't make sense to always show the tags, especially in your own mind. So that means in the cell summary here, we can keep the replacements here, but we're going to use a different list, a different format list rather than the one that we've been using. Right. We're doing it through the message handler. So summary format text. And that is format text. Yep. All right. So summary. We're gonna say, oh gosh, how do we even check if they have the text or not? You could just pass in a boolean, I think. Was text. Yeah, that would have. I think we're just gonna do that. Was text. Text. Otherwise. No summary format. Normal format. They were not text. Construct summary text. I'm gonna do was text. Well, I'm gonna pass that in, and then up here. We can put it in the result. Actually, I think that would. Well, no, because that's per currency there. You know what we might want to do instead of all this nonsense? Well, we can still do the format or format tags because that's per currency. But what we want is maybe say remove that, and then we can check the currency because we're already looping through each currency here. That means we just format here. We'll just get it inside the loop. Although this is replace. Oh no, the footer is right there. Right. So do this. You could say final message. Yeah. List string format is equal to result dot amount tags greater than 0. Message handler. I will actually cache them up here real quick. List format equals message handler. get message player, locale, summary format, and then text. There we go. So if it's greater than 0, then we want format text, otherwise just normal format. And then we'll replace this with we'll just call this untext. There we go. That should do it. This will just replace all, either one. And it doesn't actually modify these lists. It creates a new list out of for the replacements. Okay. So that should do it. Right, because we have format text, and then in the end locale here we added that format text. Okay, go ahead and stop the server here. Put the new plugin in there. Okay. Right. So here we go. I think I think we want to do multi-currency tags. We just need to set that up, which will take a little bit longer, but it shouldn't be too bad, hopefully. I just haven't added like a new table in a while in my database. Okay. Now we can fly over here. I should not see the tax format if this works correctly. Yep, there we go. Now you, however, should see it because you are being tagged. Yeah, there we go. Tax 1.2 mil. Cool. This is what we wanted because otherwise it would just get annoying to see tax 0 a bunch. Alright. Alright. Let's see here. Let's just let's try to set it up, shall we? I'm gonna stop the server. No, let's just go here. All right. We want to go to our databases, and here main Java. Here SQL tables. Okay. The lines table. All right, this has all that stuff with the tags and stuff. I'm gonna make sure to remove that. I'm gonna create a new table here. All right. All right. We want another one here. Tags table. There we go. That's good. There we go. All right. Now down here, next table, new SQLite table, line, tax, taxes. An underscore be good here. I don't know. Column, player ID column. Could be a currency ID column. We want this here. SQL column, currency ID column. And we want a column for the tax right there. All right. We want it to be an integer, and we want it to be not null default 0. All right. And we have two foreign keys here. We have the player ID foreign key, and we have the currency ID foreign key. We should have somewhere, yeah, right here. Are those foreign keys? Oh, foreign key. And you need SQLite foreign key specifically. There we go. That's our new table setup. Okay. We need now to create like the columns and stuff for it. For the not the the getters and stuff. What we really want is in our mine data keys. Now we don't want a tax column. What we do, we still want this, but we also want tax in the mine taxes column. That's that, right? We want a new entry. Have a multi-data key. Taxes entry. Alright, so we want mine taxes, data keys, player ID column. We want the currency ID column. Where do we have that at? Your currency data keys. We're in the mines, right? Currencies does not rely on mines, so that means mines can rely on currencies. Because we want this currency ID column. I think, right? Yeah. Because this one is public static column key. Column key, so yeah, we want this public. Alright. And we want to take our mines. Modules, currencies. Alright. Hopefully there's no indirect circular dependency. Nope. Alright. And then we want the tax column. There we go. That is our entry to insert into the table. This is the column. We'll get the column from this table. And we'll use a where statement to select the currency ID and the the player ID. Alright, so mine data keys. Let's go back to this class here, and we'll go to our player data. Now we want, instead of just this, we want a int to int map. Mine tax. Yeah. So we want mine tax equals new int to int open hash map. Mine tax default return value of 0. Alright. So you gotta get the taxes per currency or whatever. Okay. I think what we want to do is say where player the internal IDs. Actually, it should just be get IDs because, well, no. We'll have to loop through the internal IDs first to get them from the database or whatever. Internal currency IDs. So we want to find database get or auto increment. We want the currency data keys dot. We want the currency ID. Currencies ID. Yep. And then where. Column equals currency ID. And this requires what else? Unique value. Oh, right. I think I just need to pass on the currency ID. Where isn't required here because it's just the one thing here. ID equals that. Internal currency IDs. Add. Need to initialize this. Yeah. There you go. So now we're getting our IDs from the database, and now we need to, well, I don't know, we'll have to optimize the database at a later time. It's just because we're over my head right now. We have the internal currency IDs, and now we want to get tax. So, internal currency IDs for each ID. We'll just put the mine taxes there, right? So, put and we'll say finally percentage database get mine data keys tax SQL where player ID and currency ID equals ID. This will return an integer, and that's why it's complaining. Percentage equals null, then we can just return, not put a tax there. ID, and we want percentage there. We actually want the int value. There we go. Okay, so that will put the tax, it'll load the tax for that currency for that player, and then load, we actually need to remove it from here because it's no longer putting it in that database or that table. Problem with this is it doesn't work with non-configured currencies because there's a way to add external currencies like Volt to the API, but like it wouldn't work for that because we're not storing that as an ID in the table, and we're storing tax by the currency ID that's stored in the other table. And if we're not storing the custom currencies in the table, currency IDs, then it has nothing to reference or whatever. There's no way to set a tax for the external currencies like Volt at the moment. That's a problem. Suppose what we could do is just store the external currencies in the database as well, but I think we might have to. I don't know. I don't know how I want to do this. Could do another table for external currencies and just sort by name. Hmm. And then but I want to now. Okay. And then okay. All right. All right. Yeah. Even ChatGPT is saying to just store the API currencies, API currencies into the currencies table. Which I'm not against, so I guess we'll see that. I mean, we're not storing the balances of those external currencies in the table, we're just storing the reference to it. So it should be fine. So we just say currency IDs, and you can just say currencies dot keyset. There you go. Okay. That means now, I mean, all the currencies are going into this map, but only the internal IDs are being stored here. That's fine. I think this is fine. We just need to now say currency IDs, so then we have that, and this will add it to the currencies table if it's not already in there, so that should be fine. And then this will obviously try to load any tags for that currency ID. Then I think we'll be fine there. Okay. And then on unload, we need to obviously throw the taxes back in there. It will say mine tax for each ID. Percentage. My laptop is. Fans are going. Alright. We say final currency. I'm gonna get currency manager outside of this. If currency manager exists, gonna return if it doesn't exist. And we need to create a method for that. I don't know why I haven't already, but this is a while ago. Here we go. So is this the problem? Oh, it's an integer. That's why. Okay, right. They're storing by the IDs there. That's unfortunate. Then we can just say database get currency. No, I'm just not. Well, I don't know. I might as well just not even check. Or rather, we could check when we load it. I think that'd be a good thing. Just check when we load it. Actually, we already do check because it's getting each currency ID and then loading it. Right. What do I say? Please delete row. And stable. Where oh, actually player ID. So you can just delete all of them. Right. Where player. I think this will work, right? So we delete any row where UID equals player, or where player ID equals player ID. And that'll clear out any null currencies. In fact, we'll clear all of them. And then we could just say, we don't even need to check since we already checked. Anyways, we'll just say currency ID percentage. Oh man, you know what? Let's just object to in-map string because we are not going to be able to store it very easily because of we'd have to get the ID from the database every time. We're just going to store the string set instead of the ID. And if that's the case, then we can just honestly go here. So we're just gonna auto increment just in case. Actually, we're loading it, right? So we do need the ID from it, but we do just want to put currency ID right there. Yeah, because we do need the ID to get from there anyways. This loads it. Don't need to do anything else. All right. Down here, I'm gonna be the currency ID. So we do need to get the ID of the thing again. There's the ID. And then we need the where. We don't actually need the get. This where here. There we go. And now we want to put it in there for that player. So database insert data keys dot tags set percentage for the where here, and I believe this is it requires a multi-data key, huh? Tax, when tax is enter, there we go. I'll do it. Alright, and then we want the, well, I guess we want the ID and the player ID actually. We don't need the where at all actually. There we go. So this should now insert one per player or whatever. Okay, I believe that should do it. Now we actually need to say for the currency too. We're just gonna pass in the normal currency. There we go. And we want the currency here. We can do the currency ID. There we go. And this should get it. There we go. Alright, so 2 related problems with this. So obviously, you know, that's fine. We just gotta go down and check out what the problem is. So this is set mine tags. So this is probably in the command, right? That's fine. Set mine. Okay. So let's implement another argument here. We're gonna need to say a currency. And let's see. Bring currency ID. Okay. Commands argument currency, and we want string argument type dot word. And we want to suggest what is this context builder? The other way around, I don't know. Builder and the static currency manager. Static currency manager. I probably don't need to do this all what I'm doing here, but I've done it in a few places now and I'm still need to go back. Unless I want to go and change all those too, but currency manager dot get currency IDs. There we go. So now it'll suggest all the currency IDs when you try to type in that command. And obviously we still need to check if the currency ID they put in is null, because it can put in something that's not part of the suggestion or part of the suggestions. So first we need to say if get source, get sender, the player. I should say here if it's select a currency, we can actually copy that and then there you go. Select the currency, select the percentage amount, and we can actually go 1, okay. We say dot then amount, and then that should be that. We should want this to be dot then currency ID now. the message currency locale dot. I don't know, like select currency ID. There's this one here, but that's just for if you run the command, because if you delete a currency, it won't unregister the command. You gotta restart. Select currency. Let's say invalid. Currency there. Okay. So we actually want to say, we actually want to move this down to here. We want to say currency locale, select currency there. There we go. Final currency. I want currency ID. String argument type. Get string context. Currency. Okay. Manager get currency ID, or did I should just say exists? Because we don't need to get it. We can go here and we can say this invalid current invalid currency. There we go. And return 1. Okay. And then now it'll move on down here, which we need to actually get the currency ID for. ID, not currency, string argument type, get string context, currency. Okay, there we go. Final currency equals currency manager. Get currency ID. All right. Again, we're gonna message handler them. Okay. And return 1 there. All right. We got the percentage there. Set then we want the currency and the percentage. There we go. Set tax, and we'll say currency. We'll say currency ID, and then we'll say currency name. You get name. There we go. And obviously the percentage we set it to. Okay. So let's see. We need to add these messages before I forget. Select an invalid. So select currency. Invalid currency. Currency. There we go. And for the tax, never mind. Here we go. Set tax. You set your mind tax to for I guess we want the currency color as well. I guess we don't need this. We can just do currency color, currency name, green. All right. Then here, back tax, we also want replace currency color with currency dot color. There we go. Simple. Actually, this is nullable. Make this not null. The implementation. Not null. Okay. And up here, we just make a def a default string or an empty string. problems related to this? No. Okay. There we go. Now. Actually, let's actually go back here and say color, because we should have usages, right? No use. How is there no usages? I've definitely called currency.color before. Oh, maybe it's in currency implementation. That's why. So this has no usages. Thanks. Very, very helpful. Okay, anyways, text command, okay. Whatever, replace the color there. Alright. We're gonna do the same thing pretty much down, then player, right? That other, and we go like that. It is player, right? And then there. Otherwise, not return one, sorry, just return. Lock instance error, invalid currency. There you go, okay. Good, good, good. Currency percentage, there we go, done. Okay. It should be it, although I actually want to say we want to place the stuff here as well. There's that. There's that. Okay. I'll put you first. Okay. I should do it. I believe that means we're done. Right, this we want the currency for the mine tax, so I have to move this down to here. There we go. That'll do it. And there should actually be a problem in the cell manager, I believe. Or cell summary. There we go. See, I told you we called currency color. Somewhere. Okay, there. Alright. I should just replace this with that there. Okay. Yeah, there's other replacements, there's tax and stuff. And it's for the currency already. Right, so we're already selling it, we're already adding it to the summary, and okay, it should be fine. Because it is taxed currency. Right, we already have amount taxed here. Alright. So we already did amount tax per currency. Anyways, let's see. We're ready to try it. I'm going to delete my table again just to be safe, because we do have an extra column now, technically. And I'm going to delete my locale. Oh, you know what? I'm just actually going to... Actually, we need to... put this again. We set players, mine text to percentage for... There we go. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna build this again, and we're just gonna delete the locale file as well. Alright, and now let's run it. Hopefully this should Should be good. Hoping. Should it work? I've set everything up correctly. Create standard. All right. And these are my only plugins if you're curious. Okay. Alright, expand 100. Alright, mine tax tokens 10%. 10% for tokens. There we go. Alright. And now you can join. Right, I need to set my privacy again. Privacy public. Alright, there we go. Alright, alright. Fly over here. My token should be at 0 because I just reset the database. And okay, let's go ahead and mine. There we go. Sell all, right? Auto sell. Tax $517 out of the 4,000. Tokens 517. All right, here we go. So that works, right? But then I need to check if I leave. Okay, no. See, there's an issue on the disconnect there. That's why. Okay, yep. All right. I forgot, of course, there's our mine player data. We don't want the mine tax there, and we don't want in this entry the tax column, because there is no column anymore for that. All right. My mistake. So it shouldn't save my database or my mine stuff because it aired out there. But I shouldn't need to. No, yeah, I do need to replace the jar, obviously. I meant to say is it shouldn't need to replace or delete the database itself. Now let me actually check. Let me pull this up here. This over for a second. Nope, not that. Yeah. Okay. Open. Plugins. One database is that one. Layer ID 132. Okay, so there we go. We do have our tables correct here. As you can see, I'm using SQLite Online. Great website to view an SQLite table. As you can see, we have our mine taxes here. We have my player ID. This is me. The currency ID for tokens and money, and we have the tax, so 10% and 0 for money. On it, really though, what I should do before we do anything else is actually, I don't want to insert if they don't have a tax for that currency, because that's just wasting a little bit. It's not wasting a lot of data, it's just wasting a tiny bit of data that we don't need to waste here. So I just close the thing. Player data. Okay, so obviously we go on unload. See here. If if percentage equals 0, we can return there. Be less than equal to 0 just to be safe. So that shouldn't do that. And then the load is a problem because we loaded all of them. Percentage equals null, but it's never null. So or percentage let's equal to 0. That should do it. We save. No, okay, here we go. All right. Once it equal to 0, then it shouldn't add it to the map. All right, that should do it. That should be a bit better. We don't need to store the thing for it if it's, you know. And we already have it delete all the entries, like on load. So I should be able to join and then quit, and then it should remove my entry, my second entry here. As the server starts up. All right, there we go. All right, so we want whatever mine tags already. So we set our stuff and our we gotta set our privacy public. All right, and if I log out, no warnings there. And I log back in because I can. All right, let me make sure to open this the updated one again here. Yeah, there we go. All right. All right, so now we have taxes, and yep, now we only have the one. We don't have both. Again, if you don't know how to navigate this table, basically what I'm doing is I have players table, and that is simply the ID. There's one, and then there's the UID. I don't know why this person has 4 for the ID, or my alt has 4 for the ID, because there is no other ID in here. There's no 2 or 3, so I don't know why that happened, but it's whatever. So it gets the ID, right? So like for instance, currencies as well are the same thing. 1 for tokens, 2 for money. Just so we don't, the whole point of this is so you don't have to store the name of the currency, like this whole string for every player. Because if we go to balances, for example, this table is the same idea as the mine taxes. You have the player ID and the currency ID. Okay, again, I gotta, we don't need the balance of 0. So I'll fix that in a second. But you get the point, right? So currency, so player 1 has currency 1, 517.40 of the 517 tokens. The reason it shows this as 51,000 is because I'm storing it as an integer, so I multiply it by 10, and then when I grab it, I divide it by 10 or times it by 0.10 or 0.1 or 0.01, basically. So I still have 517.40 tokens, obviously. It just shows up as this in the database, which is, you know, it's not a problem. Okay, and then mines. We have my thing here, player ID 1, mine type standard. I didn't cache the mine types here. Even though I probably should have, because we're gonna have multiple player IDs for the same mine type. I just didn't want to, I don't know why, I just didn't cache it. And then we're at the max expansion for this mine, and the privacy is set to 1, which is public. 0 is private, and that's also the default. And then auto sell is just a simple player ID column. If they have it enabled, then they'll be in this table. Otherwise, if they have it disabled, they won't be in the table. But yeah, mine taxes, of course. You can see we have 10% tax for currency 1 with that player. Let me actually just full screen this. There we go. So now it should have loaded correctly if I go and visit. And then mine, I should get X 700k. Go on. Yeah, there we go. Perfect. Now we have multi-currency taxes. So I can go tax tokens. I can say money 25%. And if I go to my sell prices, because I haven't set up money to sell anything. Plugins, here, go up. Modules, Auto sell prices. Here we go. So now we have our sell prices here. The default currency tokens, this simply means that if you don't specify the currency down here for each block, it will hold the tokens. So for example, I could say, I actually want tokens here to be 1. I can also say money here to be 1. And then now stone is worth 1 token and one whatever money is, like dollars, you know? And I'm gonna do this pretty much same thing here. So cobblestone, all right, there's 1, this is 3, this is 5. Diamond ore is 10. And then I'm gonna leave end stone alone because that's meant to be like a lucky block type of thing. So it's just 1,000,000 tokens. And then reload. Okay, mine teleport. So we should be seeing like different amounts of currencies, right? Let me actually just. It might be easier to test if I just remove endstone temporarily. Because we want to make sure that we're getting the different tax amounts correctly. Alright, so let's go ahead and just break it. It should just give me the endstone if any. Or delete it. Okay, so there's that. Oh, I need to do a new line. Yeah, so I was taxed 793 tokens and only 1.98k money. Interesting. Why? I guess it's because of how much is in there. So yeah, it's taxed more money than tokens, which is exactly what we want. Let's go ahead and fix that message. Okay, so the footer could be empty, and then we just put a break at the end of format. So now here, I know I just closed it, but then this could just be an empty string, and then you here as well. There you go. Oh, load. There you go. Mine teleport. It should just, yeah, slash mine should just teleport. I don't know why I keep doing teleport. I completely forgot about that. Okay, so if this message is right, it should go multiple lines there. Yep, there we go. Made the same amount of money, right? We know that that's the correct amount we made. But then if we go and obviously the visitor breaks a block, they'll get taxed. Right. So I made 7,917. They made 970 less tokens, and 970 less dollars. There we go. There's our sole summary and our taxing. So taxing is done, I would say. And for the record, I'm not using Volt right now. Money is just another currency I put in the config, which is not a default currency, only tokens is. Because I'm assuming that people would want to use like Volt. Because other plugins use Volt for their shops and stuff. So, okay. Alright, so taxing is done, and I think it works pretty good. Just need to say, let's fix that money thing. They're storing 0. And that would be in the auto cell, I believe. Yeah. No, this is just auto cell. I'm sure balance is stuff. Right, that's actually in currency, so I lied. And okay. So because we're setting it, we could say if val. Why should we want to say the currency minimum? If it's below the minimum, you just don't even set it. If val is null or it's less than the minimum. We already checked val if it's null or not, so there we go. So now we're not gonna load it if it's null or less than the minimum. Not less than equal to less than the minimum, there you go. Which in most cases should just be 0. But you can change it in the config, essentially. Then on unload, you could say if balance. Alright. If balance less than currency.minimum, just return. And you might be thinking, like, what where's how are you setting all the currencies? Well, it's actually this currency data, player data is actually special. It actually stores the currency in it. So when you go to get the key, it actually has a cache of keys, currency player data key per currency here. So it's not actually one key for every currency, it's a key per currency. So there we go. I should fix that. Well, actually, that might actually break because we're not deleting it. If it's less than the minimum and we're loading it, then, well, if it's null, then we'll just return if less than currency minimum. We might actually just have to set the currency minimum here. Because it might not be 0, you know. So if it's below the minimum, then we will delete it right here. Bounce table where player ID and currency ID. So that'll do that. Because the where right here is already selecting the player ID and searching for the currency ID. So it'll just delete that right there. So if it's below the minimum, then delete it. Otherwise, do nothing and just return the balance. There you go. That was almost a problem. And then obviously below minimum, we just insert let's say if balance equals 0, then return balance less than currency. It should never be, the balance should never be below the minimum because that's how I set it in the implementation, but you know, it doesn't hurt to check. So there we go. That should set the minimum if it's not 0. Because if we set 0, well 0 is the default for all currencies balances in the database, so it's no point of setting 0. If we get it and it's null, then it's just 0, so we don't need to set 0 in the map either, so that should be fine. I think this is right. I don't see any errors with this right now, so that should solve that. And I'll delete it just to clear up some room, of course. Okay. What else do we need to do? We need to kick players when we set the privacy to 0. And that should be really simple because I already have a for each visitor kind of method in my mine handler. We just need to go to the mine privacy command and set it to do that. The privacy, there you go. let's see, set privacy, then set privacy, private, select a player. Right, set privacy. Oh, right, it's right here. This is if it's player. Yeah, I inverted that right here. Like, threw me off for a second. Because I normally invert this. I'm just gonna do this so I'm not thrown off again. There. There you go. So set for player. Alright, so if we should go down here essentially and say if privacy equals privacy.private, then we gotta kick everybody. And if it's not, and if it's set to invitation only and you're from public, then it should kick any visitors that aren't invited. And we need to set up invites as well because we have not done that yet. So, and we'll probably need another table for that in the database, unfortunately, but yeah. Well, well actually, no, we don't need to store those. We can just, we don't need to store that. It could be stored in memory. Because if you disconnect, or if the server, like if you disconnect, the invite will still be there. But if the server restarts, then you'll have to reinvite them, which is not a problem. It's just one command. So we're not going to store that in a database. There's no point to store that in the database. It's kind of, that's dumb. I guess what we would need to store in the database is if they've accepted the invite. That way you don't need to invite them every time. You just need to invite them every time if they haven't accepted it. So maybe we'll do that. That's probably what we'll do. That way you don't have to invite them every time. Just I don't know. I'm trying to think about it, right? I'm trying to think about it from the player's perspective, right? If I invite someone to my mine, yeah, I'm probably gonna want that to be persistent. Except if they didn't accept the invite. Right, maybe the invite will expire in 60 seconds just to clear up the cache even better. So yeah, we'll do that. We'll do a 60-second like timer to revoke the invite. And if they accept it, we'll store it in the database. So we will need a new table for that. Anyways. Let's see here. Right, what am I doing? We need the mine handler. Handler, element factory, there you go. Okay, return mine handler. Okay, so down here. Mine handler, for each visitor, we need the mine world. Mine, we need the mine manager as well here. Manager, mine manager, instance, okay, and mine manager, alright. And we could do a thing for the world as well, but it's just a simple getter, so I don't think we need to read that. Mine manager, get mine world, alright, and then the owner of the mine, which is the player, because we're setting their, well actually, it could be the player or it could be the target, so this is for, okay, so this is setting it for the other player. Where are we setting it for the target? Target right here. And we set it for the target right there. So I think we're just gonna put target. It'll be fine. Target, like right here. And we want to mine noodles teleport to spawn of a player. And this obviously can be replaced with the lambda method reference. There you go. So what this does is in my mine handler, I created a for each visitor method with a consumer for the player, as you see here. So you just pass in the world of the mine. That way you don't have to get. That way we don't have to fetch it in here. And then the owner of the mine, and then anyone who and then what you want to do for each player in the mine. So it automatically filters out anyone who's not visiting that player's mine right now. There we go. Now we kick everyone out when it's being set to private. And right now we'll just do invite, and then we'll have to say what to do, like a if invited thing here. Use invited or something. We'll just do like a let's do a boolean right now. If is invited, then we will obviously teleport them to spawn. So this will do the same thing as private right now. So in fact, I'm just gonna keep this for later and say privacy not equal open or public, because there's only 3 states. There we go. So private or invitation only, it'll just teleport them back to spawn because we don't have invitation yet. Now, stop the server. Replace the jar. And here we go. This will allow you to kick people out of your mine. Potentially. We could also do a ban. We do like a mine ban or mine kick or something, but I think maybe a mine ban would be good. And I also need to support visiting an offline player's mine. But I don't currently have it set up. So let's just go in and we'll say mine visit, right? So I'm here, I'm visiting, and standing right in front of me. Mine privacy private. Oh, and then I got alright. Alright, so that's a bug. We gotta fix that. For each visitor for the target. I think I know what's happening here. Right here. Although, right, the owner. There's a player. We get the owner here. Getting the player for that world, or we're looking through all the players in the world. Saying the owner, get mine owner. Right. So we're gonna have to compare as well here. UID player. UID final UID. I'm gonna put this out here. UID owner. Unique ID. Or say if compared to owner UID continue there equals 0, so it's going to continue and more of that player, and then we can simply get the owner of that player, since they are not the owner of that mine. So we're going to get the mine that they're visiting, and then we're going to accept for that action if they are visiting that same owner up here. Well, actually, I think what we want is to say, because the owner could be visiting another mine. Well, actually, no, I think that's right. That's right. Because we are passing in the owner that we want to check against. Okay, I think that's fine. There we go. That should do it. Try and stop that again, and the updated jar. Ah, nice cottage. Took a while, huh? No, not too long, just a couple hours. Right. So I don't even need to go anywhere, just stay right there. Okay. And it's gonna be private, so, you know, of course, gotta see public. Alright, there we go. And then now I can visit. You know what? That's not too bad. Yeah, editing is always so long. That's why I don't like to upload videos. I just want to stream instead. And there they go. They kicked. Never mind. Perfect. That is now working. We're slowly implementing more features. We got so today we got the mind privacy kick. Set it private and someone in your mind, it'll kick them. We got mind tax. You can set a tax per currency on your mine. That way players can filter words every 2 seconds. That's funny. Yeah, I don't know how about. Sorry, I'm stuttering. I don't know how you feel about your own voice when you're listening back to it. I kind of had to get around that myself. Well, I still kind of like. It just sounds so much different, obviously, than what you're used to. Because one, you hear it inside your head, and two, you're talking through a microphone that obviously changes how it sounds. So. But yeah, it's always weird. But you know, eventually get used to it. Yeah. I don't know if you were here for it, but I was saying earlier, I'm usually a pretty soft-spoken person, especially in public, in real life at least. Online is a little different. I'm trying to push away from that. So, you know, when I'm streaming, I try to talk a bit louder and more clearly. Yeah. Yeah, I was, came up because I was obviously changing my mic audio earlier. Okay, visit again. But yeah, I don't like editing. It's a lot of work. So that's why all my update videos that I've been posting recently, like I've actually been posting normal videos recently, which have just been updates like devlogs on this project here. They're not edited at all. I just record them, explain, talk, and ramble, and then post it, just like I do when I stream. There's a few things in previous streams that probably should have been like censored out, but I just can't. I couldn't figure out how to do it in the YouTube editor after it was up. It's just, you know. Yeah, exactly. I know how you feel. Every time I'm coding too long, my brain's just, it's too much. I had to take breaks. Alright, what should I do? What should we do now? I think I might be good to end it here. It's been 3 hours. And we got 2 good features in. And I'm hungry because I skipped lunch. The stream. So yeah, I think we might end it here. This has been a good stream. A good bit of coding. Not a ton, just a little bit coding. But anyone who just watched this stream and hasn't seen the previous update videos now can see the progress I've made on this core here. Big explosion enchants and nuke enchants and other enchants. You got currencies down there. It's a lot of fun. Gotta get on more of these streams. You mean like tune into more of my streams, or you mean like stream more? Because I know a lot of people. Yeah. Oh, okay. That's nice. Thank you. I know a lot of people have said in the past that they just watch for background noise. Well, there's that as well. Just the music. Hopefully the music isn't too loud. I just never asked, but I haven't changed it really since the last time. But yeah, essentially all of this stuff. There's a lot of code. Okay, that's take too long to find everything. There's a lot of code like in here. I can expand for a long time. There's so much, like this one module, there's more modules here with more classes in it, and more modules with more classes in these, and in here, and this one, and this one. All of it is culminating to this here. It's just one plugin. It's actually, I guess you could consider it like multiple plugins in one. People call it a prison core because it's meant to. Because there's a lot of people that make prison servers, and a prison server is essentially you start out at like rank 0, and then you mine in a mine like this. This is a miner here. You mine blocks to get money and rank up, and then once you're at the last rank, normally modern prison servers have you just prestige and start over at rank 0 or something. But there are other perks that you can get. It just depends on the server. But a prison core essentially is supposed to just be one plugin that gives you all the basic startup on the for the prison server. So it has all the basic prison stuff to start a prison server basically. That's what I'm making here. Yeah. No worries. A good one. I know I was like in the middle of rambling, but I did see it. So have a good one. I look forward to seeing you in the next one as well. Alright, everyone. Not sure what else I could do. I mean, besides starting on the mine invitations. Honestly, I suppose we could do something for that, but again, I'm hungry and my brain is a little fried just because I haven't slept much. Honestly, if you saw my last update video, you'll know that I recorded that at like 4 in the morning, and then I uploaded it right after, and then just went to lay down. So yeah, not much sleep, especially since I woke up at like 10 or 9 even. Or actually like 7, and then went back to sleep and then woke up at 9, pretty much. So yeah, I don't get a lot of sleep, but I do like to stream and work on this project, so. But yeah, and also college is starting back up like tomorrow, because it's a month. It's like classes are on a monthly basis, and obviously January's ending today. So the next class is gonna start either tomorrow or on Monday. I think. Well, this class said it went until the 31st, which is today. So that class is ending today. So that means the next class is starting tomorrow, pretty much. But that doesn't mean that there's something due tomorrow. It just means that we're gonna get access to it tomorrow, essentially. And if I'm not mistaken, we should actually be working in Unreal Engine for the first time. Before it was like, we did like 2 classes working in Unity, and then we went on to code other things. Like this class that I just did was about packets, like reading packets, coincidentally, which is funny, of course, because I'm doing that for this plugin. But it's more so like using Wireshark to like read packets and send packets. We had to make a chat server, a TCP chat server. Pretty much, that's what we had to do, which wasn't that hard at all actually. But yeah, that was this class. So like we've taken, like, we started Unity a couple months ago, and then we went on a lot of detours pretty much from actual working on games for classes. But you know, finally we're going back to a game engine, which is Unreal this time, which will be good to learn because a lot of the industry standard, like the industry standard pretty much is Unreal Engine, which is really unfortunate considering how lazy it makes developers. And we know that it makes them lazy, because they just use all the default Unreal Engine, you know, settings, especially for like lighting and rendering, because Unreal makes it super easy to do that. And the defaults aren't good by any means. That's why you have so much, like, that's why a lot of the Unreal Engine 5 games are so poorly optimized, because they all just use the same lighting and rendering. They use I think it's Lumen for lighting and then Nanite for rendering. And it's crazy. It's so crazy to me. They don't use LODs, which means like level of detail. If you don't know, LOD stands for level of detail, and you literally like what it means is, say that object far in the distance right there, it looks worse than if I was right in front of it. And the reason it looks worse is because it actually renders at a lower quality in order to save on, you know, screen space. But Nanite does not use LODs, and not just save screen space, but save memory space like RAM. In fact, LODs are one of the only reasons a game like Breath of the Wild could even work, especially on the Switch, because that hardware is not the best, obviously. We all know that. But the only reason it works so well on the Switch is because they use LODs. And things in the distance are rendered at lower quality. But Nanite does not use LODs. It's just per pixel. They render every pixel. As far as I'm aware, they render every pixel at all times. So things in the distance don't look normal compared to LODs. LODs just render at a little bit of a lower quality. Meanwhile, as far as I understand, nanites render the whole thing, but with the pixels obviously are smaller because they're further away. So it just looks noisy rather than like an actual object. It looks like a bunch of noise. So, and by a bunch of noise, I mean like if you look at that wall right there, where my cursor is, I zoom out, you can see it's like a bunch of noise, pretty much. That's what things look like. And you'll notice that even in Clair Obscur, Clair Expedition 33, Clair Obscur Expedition 33, that's the name. You'll notice it even in that game. That game won Game of the Year, won a lot of awards, but they too use Unreal Engine 5 and like basic stuff, and they could have made it look better. I know a lot of people praise the visuals for it, but you know, it could have. I'm just saying, it doesn't look bad, but it could have been better, right? And I think that's the case with like every Unreal Engine 5 game, just a majority of them, because they're not using their own stuff. They're just using the defaults, even default like ray tracing and stuff. So, like, yeah, that's pretty much why Unreal Engine 5 games are taking a lot of performance out. Why they require so much better hardware these days. Meanwhile, Unity like 6.2 added like automatic LOD creation for you. So you just import your asset and it like creates LODs of it, which is a lot easier than having to manually create them, obviously. But I'm pretty sure Unreal does not do that. They make you. They have like as far as I remember from a video I saw comparing the two, LODs versus Nanite, they said Unreal Engine like had a one-click button to convert it to Nanite. Meanwhile, for LODs, you would have to manually create each LOD for each object or asset or whatever. That's really lame, in my opinion. They really want you to use their technology. So, you know, it's whatever. But it is still the industry standard, and again, it might not be making developers lazy, but it certainly is making studios as a whole lazy, especially when they're AAA and they're ran by investors, because investors just want their return. They want their return investment as soon as possible, so they rush all the development stuff, and that's why games are releasing buggier and buggier and just unfinished for the most part. It's because they always rush the development team. And that's also why so many game studios like Bungie is focused more on profits than actual good content. Remember that, I don't know if you saw, but there's a GDC conference with one of the higher ups at Bungie talking about, oh, we gotta be careful not to over-deliver content, because if we do that, then the next time we deliver content, they'll be expecting the same level or higher. And while, sure, it's understandable a little bit, and I think that's kind of what Mojang did as well, they scaled back on the size of their releases, because players are expecting bigger and bigger each time. So yeah, while I do understand that you can't make, like, bigger and better every single time, and that there will be misses, that's still not something you should like prioritize doing. Like, you shouldn't purposely make the next release worse just so that you have an easier time in the next release. You know what I mean? But I don't know. It's just a whole rant I'm going on. But yeah, it all relates back to the fact that yeah, I'm finally gonna be working in Unreal and in this my college this month. Anyways, we're almost emptied the mine here from rambling. Just casually enjoying the little mine process here. It should reset any minute now, any second now. Unless I had a bug somewhere, but it's possible. Mm-hmm. I did just see a block change. Oh, there we go. It reset. It didn't teleport me out because I think it, I don't know. I don't know why it didn't teleport me out, but it's fine. A once in a while thing, I guess. Anyways, I think I gotta end it here. I'm rambling on again. But yeah, we did the mine tax. Mine taxing, I think, is the biggest thing that we've done today, because you can now set a tax for your mine for any specific currency. You could change the amount of tax you set for each currency. So you could say like, oh, do you prioritize money? Well, here, my mine does not tax on money, but it does tax on tokens. So, you know, like if you're just trying to get money, then come to my mine. You can get the money and I'll get all your tokens, because I'm wanting tokens right now. So yeah. So we're gonna need some plans going forward. We really need to get the GUI set up, because I just, you know, I don't want to do it is the problem. They're really, GUIs are really annoying to set up. I just don't want to do it, but I have to, so I guess I'll keep trying to do that off stream, and then we need to get the private mine menu, so we need to type /mine and it'll open up the menu instead of teleport you. We'll still have all the sub commands like mine teleport, but the /mine command will open up the menu, and that'll allow you to manage your mine. So there'll be a teleport button, like a privacy button to cycle between the privacies. It'll be not a set palette, but it'll be like an expand button to expand your mine. And you know, that also reminds me, we need to implement like a requirement for expanding your mine, which we can do in the mine type config. I believe we can do currency for now, but we will want also like a rank requirement as well for that. We could probably do an automatic stuff as well because we already have auto sell. We want like an auto rank up, and I don't think we should actually do a rank requirement for expand, but rather, well, actually that and expand when you reach that rank. So yeah, just like like because there will be rank rewards when you reach a rank, so we can just set it there as well. Okay, you should get ranks added probably next because I think that's a big one. That's a very big one. It's a big feature. We want to get that optimized as well because like if people don't have A to Z ranks, they might have unlimited ranks. That would come inherently with people ranking up either automatically or just like 1,000 ranks at a time. Like they do stuff rank up max and then they rank up from like 10 to 1,000 because they made that much money in that time. So we would want to do that. We also need the enchant menu that comes after making the GUI stuff as well. Yeah, I mean, I think there's a long way to go still. We got a lot going for us. A lot of the important stuff we got going for us, but we still need some of the basics like the GUIs. I think once we get the GUIs, it'll really feel more like a finished product. As well as the ranks, obviously. We need that. We need the ranks. And then I need to decide if we do the pickaxe levels by ranks as well. Because what we could do right now, we could easily, like, if we just add ranks, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the ability to create any amount of rank tracks. So, like, rank up, or like ranks, prestige, rebirths, those are all 3 separate tracks. I'll add the ability to create as many rank up tracks as you want. And then you can make one called, like, pickaxe levels. And then you could add a currency called, like, blocks broken. And then whenever you break, you can make every block worth 1 block broken, right? And then you can just, say pickaxe level requires a certain amount of blocks broken currency. So it'll just be rank up and currency that make up the pickaxe leveling. So, and we really gotta streamline the, or not streamline, we gotta make ranking up very efficient, because what's the point of making all this super efficient if ranking up starts lagging the server, right? Of course. And that comes with, I'm gonna obviously support the ability to add, to run a command when you rank up. And that's on the server owner's fault if they decide to execute command. They'll just have to ensure that they're not ranking up and executing that command like 1,000 times. Like imagine I do, let's just open up a new thing here, right? I say do language YML as well. Where's the Y at? Oh, right here. Okay, so imagine we say rank up, right? And then we just say like commands on every rank up, or commands on interval. And we say interval is 1, so 1 rank up. So every time you rank up once, it'll run this command here. So like let's say like sorry about that. They'll keep coming into my room. But it's fine, whatever. So we got so imagine we do like rates, give key, player, common 1. So we give them 1 crate key every time they rank up, but we're giving it to them through a command. So like imagine we had the crates plugin, we would do crates give key. We would do this in chat to give the command, or to give the crate key. And so we do that in here. So imagine then, if you do such rank up 1,000, so you rank up 1,000 times, guess what that's going to do? That's going to run this command 1,000 times. That is going to produce a lot of lag, especially if this command has a lot of logic inside of it from that plugin. So we don't want that. One way we can optimize it is we can replace this one here with an amount. I did not mean to say that. But we can replace the one here with an amount, and then we could just run this command one time and replace amount with 1,000. We would command 1,000 crate keys with the one command. I've done that before, and it actually is really fast because you're only executing the one command, obviously. But you can't do that for every type of command, because there's not going to be a command that has an amount input for everything. So you could do that for like a say command or a message command to tell the player that they ranked up 1,000 times. But there are going to be commands that you obviously can't put an amount into. And so that would have to run like 1,000 times, and that would not be good. So what I'm going to strive to do is, instead of a command, which I will support, but instead of a command, I'm going to recommend that you use the API methods instead. And I'll have actions. Like, obviously I already have a sound action, play the sound. I have a particle action to play a particle at a specific location. And then I can have like traits, common 1, or even then we could do, because even this will be faster than dispatching the command 1,000 times. Even if this runs 1,000 times, it'll definitely be faster than the command, than dispatching the command 1,000 times. But we can obviously do amount there, and then that will that'll be way faster than even dispatching the command once. This will be way faster. I can do that, but the problem is I don't know what crate plugin people have, so there might have to be like add-ons for specific crate plugins and stuff. God dang it, keep hitting save. It's just on instinct, on habit, right? So, point is, you really gotta optimize this. You gotta make sure it works. You want to use API methods. You don't want to dispatch commands. I say we'll support it because some people will have a command that they won't care about performance. They just want to do the command. And while it's not good, it's whatever. It's their service. It's not my fault. They do that. They'll send me their Spark, and it'll tell me that it's from a event, and I'll be like, well, what are you doing on this rank up? And then I'll see if they dispatch a command. I'm like, yep, that's the problem. Anyways, I'm gonna end it here. I gotta take care of my dogs and probably eat something. So thanks everyone for watching. If you want to keep up to date and see more streams, subscribe. And you can join the Discord. I do ping whenever I go live, and I do post my videos there as well. I just don't ping for them because there's no ping for it. I do ping whenever I go live. I also do game streams, so I play with other people, like some multiplayer games or single player games sometimes. I have a Ko-Fi, so if you'd like to support either my live stream or this plugin development, you can donate with that. That'll be in the description of the YouTube VOD under my live tab. Because there's like YouTube, you go to my channel, there's a live tab instead of just videos. You go to a live tab. All my live stream VODs are on the live tab because I stream straight to YouTube. You can also follow me on Twitch if you'd prefer that. I do live stream there as well. It's just in a slightly lower quality, in 1080 instead of 1440. That I stream on YouTube. And anyways, join the Discord, and subscribe, like, all that stuff. Follow on Twitch, and I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Thanks for chatting, and yeah, see you next time.